So we have to relocate them on commission evenings, so bit of mayhem there, but we're all good now. All right,
All right,
way chair.
you bet. Well, welcome everybody to our July Parks and Recreation Commission meeting. Officially start the meeting as of now and start by doing a roll call. So Parsons, I am here. Vice Chair Kerr. Here. Commissioner Frazier.
Yeah, I'm here.
Commissioner Diab.
Here.
Commissioner Lamberson.
Present.
And Commissioner Christensen. Don't see her on there. Commissioner Stackhouse, I believe, is not going to be joining us today. So, and then Councilmember Garcia.
I am present online. Let's have a great meeting.
Welcome, thank you. Moving on to our land acknowledgement. The Flagstaff Parks and Recreation Commission humbly acknowledges the ancestral homelands of this area's indigenous nations and original stewards. These lands, still inhabited by native descendants, border mountains sacred to indigenous peoples. We honor them, their legacies, their traditions, and their continued contributions. We celebrate their past, present, and future generations who will forever know this place as home. Very good. We didn't really have that much to review as far as the minutes go since we did the on-site over at Hal Jensen last week, or last month. But if anyone would like to make a motion to approve those minutes, we'll accept those.
I'll make the motion to approve.
We've got a motion approved by Commissioner Kerr. Do we have a second?
I'll second. Lamberson.
Okay, thank you. We have a second by Commissioner Lamberson. All in favor of approving those minutes, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Sad when there's only two ayes.
Yeah. I know. But those minutes are officially approved. Thank you. And that open call to the public. So this portion of the meeting is for items that are not on the agenda. The Commission cannot act on items presented during the public participation of the agenda. The Commission is prohibited by the open meeting law from discussing or considering an item until the item is officially placed on an agenda. If there are any public comments at this time, please limit those comments to 5 minutes. I did not see any members of the public. Anybody have any public comments? I don't see anybody, so we'll assume there aren't any. Okay. If there are, speak up at some point. All right. On to our discussion items. Item number A, or letter A, is upcoming Parks and Recreation Commissioner terms. Discussions of the status of current terms of each commissioner.
Thank you. I'll take it away. So this is hot and fresh off the press from our city clerk's office on Friday afternoon. And I had some questions for the city clerk's office, so I can attempt to answer those too. But first with Commissioner Kerr, you have a term that expires here in August. You're eligible, so that would be your second term that expires in August, and you're eligible for one more reappointment if you'd like to. So you have a decision to make there for you here in a couple weeks.
Is he eligible for a full term? A full term, or would that be a partial?
I believe it's a full term. Yeah. And then Commissioner Diab, you're a year into your first full term. So that shows your start date and your end date of term 1. And a term, when you take a full term, when it's a full term that's available, it is for a 3-year duration. So that's what we have there. Then for Commissioner Christensen, who's not here, she began in September of 2024, and for her first full term that ends just about a year from now. So we've got her dates in there for Commissioner Stackhouse, who's also not present. He did a full term. Then this is a partial that's listed up there, and that's why it's only showing for 2 years. So it's showing from August of 24 to August of 26. So he can, if he would like to reapply for his last term. He's not here, so I'll probably send him an email and ask him if he plans on doing that or not with a deadline date. Commissioner Lamberson just joined also a little over a year ago, and so that shows also your same full 3 year for term 1 there, expiring in August of 28. And then Commissioner Frazier, you began same time as Commissioner Christensen in September of 24, showing your first full term expiring about a year from now in August of 27. And then last but not least is Commissioner Parsons, and it's got an interesting term number there of 4 of them, and it appears to be 4 because Chair Parsons did serve, I believe, 2 partial terms, 3 partial terms, and a full term. So he's at his end.
I've been on it since March of 2020.
Okay, that makes sense. So he's at his end, on this, so any questions on where we are today? So a task for me is to reach out to, Vice Chair Kerr, see if he has an interest in reapplying or not. What's awkward about this time of the year is, and Councilmember Garcia knows this, council's on break right now until the end of August. So there's time at least to apply. There, if you want to, there's time for new applicants to come in for any vacancies that will occur on the commission, but it won't be appointed until around the end of August, early September, when city council returns to the dais. So it gives us a little bit of time to put this together. And when we get into weird times like this and you look, like all these terms are expiring in August of some year, sometimes that creates that we won't have a quorum for an August meeting. So there's always potential of that when we have it aligned this way.
I was gonna ask, what, as far as that, because like the 3 of us, all our terms show to be expiring August 1st.
Yeah,
But if council's not in session until the 24th, 25th again, they won't have a chance to appoint commissioners. Do we continue to serve until their replacements are?
you do not have to, no, because people could have circumstances to where they need to actually depart or something like that.
Yeah,
I'll ask the city clerk's office if we can. For you, Chair Parsons, they'll probably say no, just with the amount of terms that have been absorbed.
if it's just for the month of August.
Okay, yeah. Since we run the risk of not meeting quorum for the
Yeah.
month of August. But yeah, so there's that potential. I can certainly ask if anyone wants me to. I can reach out to Vice Chair Kerr, see if you have an interest in reapplying for your last term, and to Commissioner Stackhouse, see if he has an interest in reapplying for his last term. Go ahead, Commissioner Lamberson.
Is there any way that we as a commission can move to update the term expirations so that if this happens every year that we could change it?
So there's the guidelines and within that commissioner packet. So I don't believe the city clerk's office can change it. It's certainly something I can ask of them. We can also, as a commission, attempt to do a better job of getting ahead of this. Now that receiving this updated list and seeing that every single commissioner is in the month of August in one of the next 2 to 3 years, or I guess just next 2 years. Instead, I think we can get ahead of it in a different way. A little bit of a different thing when it's a reappointment versus a true vacancy, and then new applications need to be received at the city clerk's office with enough applicants for city council to make an educated decision too. Say if we had one vacancy, I believe they have to have in receipt at least 3 valid applications to make a decision.
Well, that's interesting. And I guess with that, I was also curious, is the commission allowed to, or have you ever discussed, like, is there a voice that's missing from the community for this particular commission? Like, as Parks and Rec, would we prefer to have, try to drum up some applicants from a certain sector of the community?
We haven't done necessarily from a city staff lens, like there's advertisement of who we're looking for. And I don't know, Councilmember Garcia, if you're available, if you want to explain a little bit of the process you and the other council members go through when you're reviewing these applications to find kind of that best or appropriate fit for each of the, gosh, what are there, I think 16 or 17 commissions, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, you just wanted me to share how the selection process goes for each council member?
No, for each commissioner, for the commissions.
For each commission. Okay, so like if we were going to review Parks and Rec, for instance.
Yes.
Yeah, we just get the however many applicants have been on file, and I think each council member does it in their own way. I personally interview each council member or each commission applicant, and then go from there. I don't think that there's a certain exact methodology to it. I think each council member brings their own flavor to the equation. Now, there are particular times where we will or I will choose somebody who has been super invested into the process. There are other times when I choose somebody who's kind of new to the process. It just kind of depends on how the interviews go.
Well,
Does that
thanks for that
help?
background,
Yeah, go
Anthony.
ahead.
Yeah, that's helpful. And it sounds like we have to have, multiple applicants on file. And how does the city advertise those, or how do people know that they can join commissions?
I know that the city's website is always up to date regarding what vacancies on whichever commissions are available. And then again, they do have a list of applications that have come in the past. So when we as staff report to the city clerk's office that we have a vacancy or vacancies, they go and look at their application pool for that specific commission and contact to see if there's still interest, if they have a pool of candidates and applications. And then if not, the information office and community engagement office probably does some type of information to get out to the greater public, or a lot of times it can be word of mouth. Any of the commissioners in here can certainly express on how they found the vacancy themselves too.
I went online when I first looked at it and just was looking at the Parks and Rec Commission and saw that there was a vacancy. Right, so
And can I add one more thing?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I think it's also important to understand that at a certain point in the process in the last couple of years, we have also asked, or the process kind of entails that the commission chair or maybe even a staff member that is tied to the commission, if there is any reason for a commissioner to be reconsidered, and here's like the idea behind it or the example. Let's say you have somebody who just became the chair and who has only served one term. It's important for us to know that. So we'll get additional information on applicants' reason why we might want to consider them or put them closer to the top of the pool in our decision-making process because of maybe roles that they're playing within the group. Because it would be kind of bad if you became a chair and then all of a sudden, you're out of the commission the next month. So we do have extra influence if there's specific details from staff or from the chair to take into consideration. Still doesn't mean we're going to choose those people. It depends on the interviews.
Thanks for all that background. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I see that Commissioner Christensen was able to join us. Commissioner Christensen, hi. We were just going through what the current terms are. That's what's displayed on your screen there of our current commissioners. We do have, Vice Chair Kerr has an opportunity to reapply if he'd like to. And then the city council, when they return, at the end of August, that's when those reappointments or new appointments to our commission would occur. And then same for Commissioner Stackhouse, where the rest have a little bit more time, and then Chair Parsons has no time. We're kicking him out, just kidding.
So 4 terms is the max.
Well, and so that shows a 4 there next to Chair Parsons' name, but it's because he served a handful of partial terms. So you really are only able to serve, I believe it's 3 terms, if I'm not mistaken,
That was only 2.
or 2 full terms. And it's a full term is a 3-year duration. So 6 total years is what you can serve.
Oh, wow.
But it can be any combination of partial terms or full terms, depending on how this roster changes.
So yeah, I've just been just over 6 years.
Over 6 years, yeah,
Oh,
yeah. You know, and at times that happens if a commissioner needs to depart for whatever reason and not fulfill their complete term, that can happen, and that's how some of those partials come into play.
thank you.
We can always even pivot back to this item with some of our other items here to discuss today. So I can, again, go back to this pretty easily.
Because that kind of impacts our second.
It does, yeah,
So we want to move on to item number B,
yeah,
just
yeah.
discussion and vote on a new chair and vice chair.
Yeah, so with the departure of Chair Parsons, we have now a new vote that is an actual discussion and vote amongst the commissioners that are here today on a new chair and vice chair roles amongst normally it would be 7 of you, but there's 5 of you here today. Or no, there's 6 of you here today. Just Commissioner Stackhouse is gone. So feel free to discuss. Ask any questions, especially while you've got Chair Parsons here.
Yeah. So it also depends whether or not you're gonna try to.
Yeah, that was I don't think I will.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
So I'm out of the running because I think I'm gonna let my term lapse.
Perhaps, yep.
It's like, I think I've done just under 6 years. So I was actually surprised when you said that I could run for another term.
Because you got appointed in December of 2020.
Yeah, so I'm just under 6 years.
Under, right, so we just have a partial technically that you could fill.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so we just bow out
okay.
instead of do the partial.
So we may, if everyone could hear that, we may very well have both Chair Parsons gone as well as Vice Chair Kerr. And then we would, so those would be new appointees in late August by early September by city council. And still
Possibly Stackhouse too.
possibly Stackhouse, don't know what his thoughts are on that. So yeah, still have a discussion and vote on chair and
So
vice chair.
The 4 remaining, once 3 leave, it's up to you to decide if you want to run for chair or not run, but put your name in the hat for chair or co-chair to lead these meetings.
You know, and Chair Parsons, it's primarily been, it's obviously, the agenda is put together by staff.
Yeah.
And mainly Lori Reynolds here. So it's on the evening of the afternoon and evening of the commission. It's obviously running the agenda. You know, we have in the past had a lot of public participation. We really haven't in probably the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know if that's a good or a bad sign. And then there have been times in the past that the chair of a commission has gone and spoken to city council
Okay.
in the past. Can you think of any other duties that have occurred?
I remember I did that with, previous. It's a little bit of research, you know, it's having your thought process. You know, when I approach this, I always look at like, what are items of discussion, trying to lead the discussion and make sure people have the opportunity to ask questions and kind of guide it a little bit. So I always look for people who are inquisitive and really want to kind of take the bull by the horns, so to speak, just kind of lead the discussions, try to solicit, you know, we're here to guide, you know, pros. And so the more that we can research and be informed on our items of discussion, the better. So I always try to put a little extra time in just to get familiar with whatever we're going to be talking about. So. So.
I say you have both chair and vice chair here, ask them questions and.
Basically,
Yeah,
What does the vice chair do at any given point? Are you the backup for the chair?
Yes,
I've only had to cover for Commissioner Parsons once, so that was pretty cool.
I've only missed one meeting in my 6 years.
Yeah. So I only had to cover for him once, but it was pretty easy. Just following along with the agenda and yeah. So I'm just the backup.
Is there any additional training that chairs have to go through?
Oh, you kind of, just based on attending the meetings, you know what we've gone through, so, and what I generally do. So it's like Amy said, it's going through the agenda and just, you know, moving that forward and then making sure that there's lively and informative discussions on any of the items presented.
attendance is key.
Attendance.
Yeah.
So someone who can commit to being here so that we don't always have to rely on the co-chair showing up either. So like I said, I got sick one time, so but other than that,
You be sick one time.
yeah, once every 15 years.
And I don't want to be intrusive, but Stephen, are you working a full-time job and doing this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, these,
So it's like realistic because I'm a
Conversations.
little nervous.
It's not that much time, you know.
Right.
I put in a couple of hours the day of just to review, and if I have to do any research, I'll go back through sometimes our previous meetings, like when we're talking about our budget items and or our priority items, and just refresh what we talked about in those previous discussions. Get a little bit up to speed so that if like when we've had newer commissioners on board, you know, we've had to bring them up to speed on what some of our previous meetings were from years ago. Since I've been on this and Commissioner Kerr's been on this commission for such a long time, we're able to bring some of the junior members of the commission up to speed on past discussion items. So that's just kind of it from my standpoint, is just keeping those things in check and then running the meetings, make sure we don't get off track as far as discussion items go. So adhere to our open meeting laws. And
Right, the Roberts rules. Is there any, Stephen and Austin, do you do any pre-work with Lori and with the staff to like determine what is on the agenda, or do you find out the agenda once the agenda's set?
Well, remember, we always discuss in our meetings, we have an item where we do set agenda items for next meeting.
Yeah.
So we'll bring that up and then they'll Amy and Lori and Rebecca will identify additional items as they come up over the next month. And then, so no, I don't have any input on that.
Staff create the agenda.
Okay, so there's no, I'm looking for the hidden work. Can you tell?
Absolutely. No, these are the questions and you all need to be discussing this or thinking about it. Yeah. And
The most visceral work I've ever had to do was when we did present to the commission, and I worked,
so,
I
yeah,
was co-chair at the time, and Commissioner Conway was chair, and we ended up working with Rebecca to come up with a PowerPoint presentation and present to city council. That wasn't that much work, but it was a little extra time beyond what I normally do.
Okay.
it's the time commitment that all 7 of you have right now. Plus, attendance can obviously still occur in person or virtually. You know, and then, yeah, and then again, it's just taking, like Chairperson said, it's taking the lead on the agenda created by staff, working through the agenda. If we did have members of the public in here, it might be even responding to them, especially if we're done discussing their item and letting them know, now we're moving to our next agenda item. Just some things like that. But no other additional like administrative work like that is expected of anyone.
Okay.
Can I mention another thing that might come into play for a chair?
Of course.
Oh, okay. So we do have a lot of new fun projects coming up in the pipeline, and this might not have been much of a point of interest a few years back, but now that the Parks and Rec Department have, copious amounts of new parks coming up and stuff like that, you might be called upon, or it might be something that you want to do. I don't think you'll necessarily be called upon. Being a chair, there's certain things you have to do, but there's also certain things you might want to do. And one of the things you might want to do is be present as a community facing kind of representative of the committee in when there's ribbon cuttings or when there's new park idea discovery sessions with the community, things like that, just as a representative, whether you have a speech or whether you are just there to let people know how the commission works. I think there's a lot of what you have to do, and then there's also that component of what you want to do. And that's the beauty, I think, of being a chair of a city commission, is you have that freedom to kind of learn as you go and do more as you go when you want to. That's all.
I'd like to agree with that, council member, is, being not only chair, but just being on the commission as a whole. It's exciting to see, since I've been on here, we came out of COVID where we had little funding. Now it seems like we're getting more and more funding. There's more projects. We're able to tackle some of those deferred maintenance things. So there's a lot of interesting things going on with pros right now. So, it's an exciting time, I think. I wish I could continue, but I can't, to be on the commission. So, just with, the Highland Mesa Park, the Cheshire Park expansion, improvements in recreation as well. So, I think it's an exciting time, especially now that we have some funding for open space as well. So there's a lot of good energy going on right now, I think. So be chair and kind of leading that discussion and where we go from here is kind of an honor. So I'd throw your hat in the ring if you're willing to. So whoever.
I will say I'm interested. I want to, do we have to decide today?
We do, because chairpersons will not be here for an August meeting or any meeting thereafter. And quite possibly the same with Vice Chair Kerr, even though he may have some time left on his term, but he does not have to he's already stated he's not going to be renewing. So I would assume if we hold an August meeting, we would not have either our chair or vice chair here or present.
Leave it.
Hey.
Commissioner Stack.
Yeah, for sure.
No pressure, Commissioner Christensen.
I'd be willing to step up and chair the committee, as long as occasionally, once in a while, as you noticed, like I joined remote because I get pulled other places. But if joining remote on a rare occasion is acceptable, I'd be willing to throw my hat in the ring to replace Stephen.
It's certainly possible. That's the nice thing with technology is that we do have that ability. There's times technology doesn't work, but.
Right.
Yeah.
Going to,
Yeah.
well, I'll always make the visits to the cool places. But.
Well, and Commissioners Diab and Lamberson and Frazier, it's open to you as well. So you guys can weigh in and tell us what you're thinking currently.
Yeah, I mean, this is my first year as a commissioner, but and I'm pregnant, having a baby in early November. But I am pretty interested in vice chair. I think that would be a good stepping stone to then maybe run for chair next time it's open if I'm still in my term, or still in my second term, because I do plan on continuing this as long as I can. So yeah, I think I am very interested in vice chair.
Great.
And I'm very grateful that you two are interested in chair and vice chair, because at this time, with the newness of being on the commission and also just other responsibilities, I don't think it's the right time for me to step into any additional role of responsibility.
Okay. Okay.
I'm in the same boat.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy contributing, but I don't have the capacity or bandwidth to contribute more. And Stephen, it's obvious that you put some more effort into this than possibly others on the commission. So appreciated. Good job. Bravo. Take your kudos.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You take it seriously, you know. We're here to guide
Okay.
pros as much as possible and be a good voice and work through some of these items. Not all of them are difficult, obviously. We've had some good discussions about projects and you know, the hierarchy of projects and what we want to achieve as a commission and what pros is trying to do as well and support them. So if you can buy into that, then we can take nominations and then we can vote on it. So if Commissioner Christensen, you would like to throw your hat in as chair and Commissioner Diab as vice chair, then or co-chair, then we can take votes to that effect.
Councilmember Garcia, your hand went up. Did you have a question or comment?
It was really just a comment. This isn't for any advocacy whatsoever, just to add some context. And well, to say thank you to an old friend that's there on the commission now and who seems to be stepping up. I just wanted to, for those that weren't around in 2016 or 17 or whenever it was that this happened, Commissioner Christensen was the chair of the BPAC for a period of time, and I learned really how to be a chair from her. So she's up to bat. She'd be a great choice in my opinion.
Thank you,
Commissioner
Anthony.
Christensen, I would say from being a presenter at the BPAC Commission, it's less of a responsibility. There's a significantly more responsibility with the BPAC Commission on choosing some of those projects that are done annually. So it's a little bit different, but the Parks and Rec Commission is still the advocacy group for how the BBB recreation capital funding is spent. And we've gone through prioritization and like strategy exercises to build a 5 and a 10-year plan. In the next couple years, we're going to probably need to do the next 5 to 10-year plan. as the years keep passing us by. So yeah, I mean, I do know that the BPAC commission can have significantly an increased level of responsibility compared to the Parks and Recreation Commission, depending on, you know, public participation too, or any of those types of responses.
I'm okay with that. I'm 100% okay with that. But let's not jinx it. All
Right.
of a sudden,
You guys
yeah,
still have a vote, yep, so
right.
you guys vote on it.
You officially saying you'll act as chair?
I think I have to be nominated or seconded or something, but yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, then I will nominate Commissioner Christensen as our next chair. Do we have a second?
All yeas
Yeah,
or
I'll
nays?
second.
You, all in
Great.
favor? All in favor of Commissioner
I'll
Christensen
second the
as,
nomination.
perfect, thank you. All in favor of Commissioner Christensen as the new chair of the Parks and Recreation Commission, say aye.
Hi.
Aye. All opposed, say
Aye.
nay. We have a unanimous vote in favor, so very good. And I believe we'd like to nominate, I will
I'll
nominate,
nominate the vice chair.
nominate the
Do
vice
it.
chair.
Might as well. I'll nominate Commissioner Diab to be the vice chair.
I would like to second that nomination. So all in favor of Commissioner Diab as our new vice chair, say aye.
Aye.
I
Hi. Do I get to say it? No.
You do too, yes. That sounded like a unanimous vote again. So we now have Commissioner Christensen as the new chair of the Parks and Recreation Commission and Commissioner Diab as the new vice chair. Thank you very much for stepping up.
I'm excited for the role.
yeah, and thank you guys, Austin and Stephen. Thank you so much for all of your guidance and your knowledge and your time that you spent with the committee. It's greatly appreciated.
And we're still around, so if there's questions, otherwise you can always give us a holler or email or something like that if you have any other questions, but
I have a feeling
I'm sure you'll be in good hands.
the terms.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I had one quick question, Commissioner Lamberson here. Strange request, or maybe not that strange, but when we met with the open space, they had name badges available in the meetings, and we don't need to go necessarily as fancy as theirs, but especially as a new commissioner, when I first came in, and as we're considering getting some new ones on board, it would be wonderful to have name tags in front of each of us so that we know who each of the players are.
Yeah, great comment. You know, when we used to host the commission meeting in the council chambers at City Hall, that's when we definitely brought out the name badges for everyone. And then a few years in, when we were relocated here to the Aquaplex, I want to say in maybe 2019, I think, we still had some of them, and we even had them for staff, and we would set them up. So agree, Commissioner Lamberson, that that is a good welcoming suggestion for people that are new and nervous, right?
I think that went away because we were so remote through the whole pandemic.
Yep. For a year. Yeah, so yeah, we can I think that's a great suggestion, and we can certainly bring that back.
You know, the name tags. on
Thank
the
you.
screen.
Good idea. Yeah,
Yep, yeah.
cool. Well, I appreciate you guys. So, very good. We'll move on. I guess we can do the 4th of July drone show summary.
All right, who went to it? Anybody?
I didn't get to it.
I did.
We left
I
town.
watched it online.
Did you? Yeah. How was online experience actually for those that did? Because I heard there was maybe a snafu with that.
I don't think there was sound.
Correct.
Um,
Sound was only on site at Fox Glen Park.
But I think it was fine.
Okay, cool. I'd heard there might have been some snafu on that. So I'll give the summary. Well, I love to play these games. Who can guess how many, Councilmember Garcia, you cannot answer. Who can guess how many people attended? Who wants to guess?
1,000?
I mean, I know it was a lot because I did try to go in person at first. So I would guess over 1,000, closer to 2,000 probably.
I would guess it's more than that. I want to say about 5,000 to 7,000.
It's 28,000 people. Yeah.
Wow.
And what, remind us
28,000.
what was the capacity of the field? Because I remember being blown away by that.
You know, based on COVID guidelines that we had when COVID broke out for hosting, for anyone hosting a special event in kind of that personal space that was considered safe, those two large multi-purpose fields at Fox Glen Park could, by that number, host 60,000 people. That's without, you know, obviously we were using a large corner for this stage, for the DJ and the live band, and then along a long stretch, we had I think 8 bouncy houses, if not more. So that it would be if you were just using that space. The 28,000 people, I think, were comfortably in there. There did not appear to be any overcrowding or anything. And if it helps people, I can pull up a map just to kind of orient everyone with the area and like what the setup looked like and resembled. Would that be helpful, especially for online?
While you're pulling up, did the smoke not affect,
Yeah, I'd like to see
like,
it.
do you think more people
Yeah, I'd
would
like to
have
see it as well.
come out if there was no smoke?
So, you know, that was interesting. So we were monitoring the air quality index for days before and it would change within 10 minutes. It was for any of us, no matter where you were within city or county limits. So it was really difficult to manage. Thank goodness that entire day was pretty much moderate. We really lucked out because the day before on Friday, it got into the unhealthy category, not hazardous, but unhealthy. And I was like, oh my, this is going to be crazy. And a lot of work went into with the vendor to find out like what restrictions do they have when air quality is poor. So for a drone show operator, as long as there's 3 miles of visibility, and you think like 3 miles, oh, that's like over there to Fat Man's Loop. It's pretty far. Like, so I don't think any of us from our eyeball would recognize what that really is. Or we see like the smoke through the trees and we think it's poor visibility and it's doesn't match that. So throughout the whole weekend, a couple days prior to the event, there was 9 to 11 miles of visibility, even with that smoke in the air. It just didn't compute for me, right? And then the air quality just changed everywhere from good to moderate to unhealthy. So that was pretty difficult to micromanage. But yeah, so I don't know honestly if people did not come up because of the smoke. I do know that Phoenix news channels were reporting the smoke and kind of saying, don't go up there. I saw the newscast myself, which was unfortunate, but there was still 28,000 people that I think had a good time. Yeah, so that was pretty wild all on its own.
You don't know how many attended last year's drone show, do you? You didn't have the same structure?
It wasn't the same setup. So again, this one was a one-stop shop. Viewing and audible was going to be at Fox Glen Park, at the grass multi-purpose fields, one viewing vantage, and that was it. Where last year, our first year to do it, we launched the drones from Cocoa High School, and there were multiple viewing points. Some good, some better, some best, some surprisingly thought they would be good and maybe they weren't. A lot of things like that. So yeah, and then did audio not in a centralized location, had it broadcast over CAF radio, and that was difficult to sync. There were delays, and then at the last minute, CAF radio had to do 15-second advertisements, and we're like, now that pushes songs even back further from the visual. So that was very difficult to manage, and manage those expectations. And then obviously there was some feedback on that too, without individuals knowing those details. Where here it was live audio, that's where you were gonna hear it. The city's able to, off one of the drones films the show. That's what the online footage would have been on the city's, Discover Flagstaff and the city's YouTube site for that, but no audio associated with it.
Were there tickets offered, or was that tickets just for parking, or what?
It's 100% free event to anyone. On-site parking at Sanawa Middle School, those parking spaces, I think there were roughly almost 400 of them. Those were $5 a spot. Those sold out before July 1st, so we were at capacity there. And then there were 12 ADA parking spaces. I'll show you on this map, at the north side of the park. Those also sold out very quickly. So those were also being utilized there. And then,
Is that cost recovery somewhat for?
not really, because we had to rent the parking lot from Sanawa. We rented a parking lot from Flagstaff Mall for the park and ride with Mountain Line, and we rented a P62 parking lot from NAU for a park and ride from the west side of town too. The park and ride was amazing. Those buses were standing room only, and they just kept coming. It was wild. I know at the Flagstaff Mall that could park 1,000 vehicles, and at P62 on NEU's campus, I believe that can park maybe 400 something also. It was crazy. But so that was neat to see. So it was on these two fields that kind of looks like a really weird amoeba for science folks. That is where, along this edge right here, this kind of northwestern sidewalk, that whole line was where bouncy houses were. There was some yard games back in here. The recreation team had brought out, and the recreation team was managing all the bouncy houses. Those were free for kids. They were managing the yard games like cornhole, anything else. You saw people bring in footballs, frisbees, you name it. And honestly, just having fun, hanging out. So not crowded whatsoever. And then in the Ramada area, is where we had free face painting. So in this area right here, free face painting and the balloon artist that sometimes is at the community market and other events. This is the worst image, by the way, of this park. This park got trashed, I know. Thanks, Google. So those lines were huge. And then over here in the north, I know the cursor gets a little wonky online, but in this northeastern corner is where the stage was set up with peak audio. We had a DJ for a couple hours. We had a live band for a couple hours. And then the DJ or the Peaks Audio then played the MP4 file of curated music by the drone show operators themselves that was in sync to their drone show. And what was cool with this park location on purpose with the foots trail that goes all the way around it. So that's great for our partners in police to help us manage a site correctly, and show easy presence. So I mean, gosh, all along the sidewalk, there were police cars with officers there, because they're there to keep the public safe. We don't need anything terrible going on. We had bomb squad there. We had SWAT team there. We had officers everywhere. We had, again, recreation team and open space team and events team working in the fields with all the amenities and everything. And then with PD and our parks team, we were all out in the parking lot and in the street managing the road closure, because we'll go through that too. This southern parking lot here that's where the food trucks were located. Also a medical tent with EMS provided by our fire department, porta potties for everyone when you have that many people there, hand wash stations, throughout the park were similar to your residential roll-off carts for refuse and recycling. So those were spread throughout, and obviously plenty in the parking lot with the food vendors. I would say that's probably the only negative feedback that we received were, guess what? Long lines at food trucks. I feel like that happens to any event that you go to when you choose to jump in a line.
How many food trucks were out there? Do you know?
Sarah, do you recall how many food trucks we had? I know there were 2 ice cream trucks. She might be running. There she is.
Let's see, we had. We
We had 2 tacos.
had like 6.
I think.
Ideally, we would have had more. But it was really hard to get food trucks. And a couple of them just no call, no showed, and then some of them just bailed last minute. I think the like high attendance scared some of them away somehow. But it worked out, you know. We had
worked
kind of
out.
limited space in that lot anyway, so we did what we could, and people seemed to get their food and had a great time. But
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
actually kind of a good thing that a couple of them did not show up because I don't think Sarah could have fit any more in that parking
Yeah.
lot.
yeah, it would have been really hard.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you would expect with 28,000 people and 6 food trucks, there's gonna be some substantial lines.
There'd be some lines.
There
Yeah.
definitely were. But we had 2 ice cream trucks, so
Everybody loves ice cream.
yeah.
A churro truck.
Right?
Yeah.
And then the travel lane here, that was open, because we needed that clear in case for emergency services. The drones themselves were launched from this field right here. So both of these baseball and softball fields were locked and closed. No entry in there unless you were with the drone show operator company. And then this front parking lot, 100% open with the exception of this little strip right here. That's where we had the on-site ADA spaces for $0, reserve in advance. All 12 of them sold fairly fast. Because that was going to be your easiest and most direct way to get back to the fields. But we needed this front parking lot to flow those mountain line buses through that were dropping people off, and they literally were standing room only. A couple of them, they looked like they were low riding a little too much. It was a little crazy. But it was incredibly helpful. And then at the end of the night, so those park and ride locations that were at the Flagstaff Mall and at P62 on campus, the last bus was supposed to leave at 8 p.m. I think a couple left a little bit after that. Because we wanted to try to give that buffer time to get these buses in, get people back to the field so they could actually see the drone show, because it launched at a hard 9 p.m. Then Mountain Lion Station, 8 buses in this parking lot. So boom, as soon as the show was over, people could load them and start to get back to their vehicles, whichever where they parked. And we had a lot of staff here helping with, a lot of the recreation staff was also here in this parking lot because now it's dark. And we had light stands set up. I think we had 17 light stands that came on as soon as the drone show was over. That way we could help direct, like if you parked at the mall, get in this line. If you parked at NEU, get in this line kind of thing. If you parked at Sanawa, take this sidewalk. It'll get you there the quickest. And because it was a full roadway closure from 4th Street in Butler all the way up to just on the far right side of this screen, on Butler, hard closure, you're not coming through. And then, a closure up Fox Glen to where then you needed to be able to turn around. And then I can tell you at the event of 2025, it took about 2.5 hours to get traffic off of the Cedar Hill area and dispersed. This took us 1 hour to get everybody out, everybody back to where they need to go, and roads were clear and we could get them reopened. So it definitely worked out as well as we thought it would with this type of a setup at this location, for sure.
Sounds really successful. Considered, were there any things that didn't go quite the way you envisioned, or things, lessons learned, if you use the same site next year, you do anything different?
Well, one thing I do want the commission to know, and I'm sure Councilmember Garcia knows, so the drone show event is not funded for 2027 anytime in the future, and that's the budget we're in right now. But what we can, and the funding that came for that comes from our partners in Economic Vitality, who are also recipients of the BBB tax and through their tourism section. So it's not funded for 2027, but what at least we can show from a pros lens is someone else wants to do this event. This is the spot to do it. And here were all the successes, and here's all the planning that we did to make it work, kind of thing. And I do know Economic Vitality has done like almost a request for interest to see if any special event producers have an interest in hosting a 2027 July 4th event. Because then again, we can share these details about this, and it's public information on what the drone show itself costs. I can't imagine anyone doing that for free, like we can as the city.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah,
But there's no chance that pros would pick it up again.
we don't have the funding to do that. We don't have the capacity to do that either, but we certainly don't have the funding. It's a $200,000 event
Right.
in total. When you think about the traffic control, rental of parking lots, agreements with public transportation, the police, and the amount of staff that it took to make sure it was a safe event.
Sound like Chamber of Commerce or tourism, something like that would want to step up.
I don't know. Yeah.
If it draws that many people, it seems like a worthwhile thing to do.
Yeah, but I do think, our special event producers in the community are not doing events for free.
Yeah.
And when there's that cost, they need a return on their investment on it. Yeah. So yeah, it's not happening in 2027 from pros. But yeah, it went really well. I think we have a successful model. So we have like a okay model the first time we did it, and then a successful one based on lessons learned from our first year of doing it. Yeah. Yeah, it was cool though.
Anybody have any questions or comments for Amy?
Yeah, is there a reason for the road being so closed so aggressively?
Absolutely, because you've got 28,000 people walking through there, and we've seen the horror stories of, say, a vehicle entering a parade or a public gathering. So that public safety is number one when hosting a large special event. You've got to keep the
Yeah,
public safe.
you were saying the parking was at Sanawa, so it makes sense people were having to cross that road by foot, huh?
Yes, yeah. People
Yeah,
were
okay.
coming down Fox Glen Street. They were coming down Mustang Way based on if they had a parking pass at Sanawa. They were coming from all over. And, when you think 28,000 people, that's hard to keep that many people on a 4-foot or 5-foot wide sidewalk. So you need some of those travel lanes. And we also needed clear lanes for the Mountain Line buses to move people.
That makes sense. And I think you mentioned this too. It helped a little bit with traffic at the end of the event.
It did, yeah. I mean, we still had a significant amount of vehicles to get out of there and still a closure to maintain. This closure along Butler Avenue didn't open at the end of the drone show. It didn't open till 11 p.m. At 10:30 p.m. somewhere in there. So again, it was still getting vehicles out and where they need to go and keeping that road hard closed and safe for people walking through still.
Awesome, thank you. Just kind of curious.
Yeah, there was also the urban trail can get you there. So there were a handful of people on bicycles. I saw a lot of people trying to enter the south side here off the urban trail in golf carts. So police were having to stop that. Yeah, there was a lot of creativity. And we had, I think, 13 stations all around, including in the Sonawa parking lot of park staff paired with paired with a coworker and paired with police to help mitigate all the traffic and any concerns. And we were all, as usual, it runs through our emergency management program that we're all a part of. And so we had our incident command post inside Knowles Elementary School with PD, fire, and other representatives in case of an emergency, if anything happened. And then obviously all on radio communication for that too. I think the worst I saw were, I believe, 3 missing children who were reacquainted with their loved ones. I think that was the worst that I saw in there happen. I guess 3 out of 28,000 isn't bad to be missing.
That big a group, right?
About the funding.
Mhm.
So is it through BBB then that 200,000 came from?
Yes.
Okay. And so it's just a simple, like, it's just not in it for next year? Was it like a question of that 200,000 needed to go to somewhere else?
Um, it's Economic Vitality Division, it's their funding, so it's not BBB Recreation that was funding it. But yes, and they've got other priorities and other items, that they need to allot their funds to. So they did not have an interest in doing that. And then the city as an organization was not going to use general fund to fund it. And we knew that early on in March of 26, when we get some of our information back regarding the upcoming budget. So that's when Economic Vitality did do that request for interest to see if there are any special event producers that do want to host something in the future. I think the hard part is, we know 2027 will be a Sunday. There's gonna be a day that 4th of July is like a Tuesday. Wah, wah. Like to host a giant $200,000 party. I don't know.
I guess, yeah, this year is a Saturday. It was unique.
It was a Saturday. It was the 250th anniversary. So it felt good to do this and have a successful event. But I do see the organizations need to not allot money to something like that and see if there's someone who wants to pick it up. Yeah. Any other questions on drone shows?
Anybody else have anything before we move on to our next topic?
You became an expert at it, that's for sure.
Sure sounds like it.
That
Takes
was
a
an
lot.
incredible amount of work on all the departments, especially you guys in pros. I just want to thank you guys again. There's when you get that many people into one area and do it in the way that we did without very many incidences going down, you really show what Team Flagstaff could do when they put their minds together. Such a success and kind of a great way to kind of end the tradition on something that was very successful.
Yeah, thank you, council member. And I understand, and council member Garcia knows this throughout the process when we're staff bringing contracts or information forward to council, they're going to question us and like, how are you guys going? How is staff going to do this? How is staff going to do that? We really dug deep on lessons learned from the 2025 special event and understanding what it takes to close a major road like Butler Avenue. Both ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, our ears were open and I think that we made it happen, which was good.
Exciting, great job. You guys really
It
did.
was cool. Yeah. I don't know if the videos, it should still be up, I would assume on the City of Flagstaff YouTube site of the actual
Okay.
drone show itself. I believe it's still up. Yeah, it was neat.
Well, very good. Thanks for that, Amy. Appreciated. So, we can move on and what we got next? Oh, review of fiscal year 25-26 deferred maintenance projects for pros.
I don't know if y'all are sick of listening to me yet. So I can share, so, okay, so through the pros, through our BBB Recreation Fund account that this commission is an advocacy group for and does vote to approve that budget each year. When we started to create like the playground replacement program, that's 150,000 each fiscal year. We at the same time created a $200,000 deferred maintenance slash project fund. So we have that fund each year. And what we try and do are hit some of those deferred maintenance items, especially with our 4 rec centers and with our 2 specialty, even though I think all 4 of them are special. But when you got like a pool and a sheet of ice or 55,000 square feet here, but even something like a 10,000 square foot at Joe C, there's still, with a kitchen, there's still considerations with a gymnasium at Hal Jensen, you name it. And y'all been able to visit a couple of these rec centers too. So, we tend to utilize it for some of those deferred maintenance needs because we don't have a fund account for that at each of our 4 rec centers. Or we might need something that's like a small piece of equipment in parks, or we might need something that's educational signage or something else for open space section. And rarely have we used it for events and athletics, but there may be a need someday, who knows? So when you get July 1st, boom, your new budget hits, you get this fresh 200,000 and you're like, we have 200,000, right, Tyrone? But so I tend to just, and for all of us to access, all of us as far as staff are concerned, just start keeping it in a spreadsheet. We just start counting down. We talk about it as a group and as a team when we have something that comes up. Does everybody agree? This will come out of that bucket of money. Cool. How much is it? And then we log it in because eventually it starts to erode that 200,000 where it feels like you're almost playing like a shell game of, do I do this one now or do we do this one? Can we wait? Like, what do we do? So I can go over like the list of things that, and some of them aren't like cool at all that this fund works on. Go ahead.
Is that a separate budget than the playground replacement?
Playground is 150,000 for playground replacement annually. And we can carry forward it and build a bigger balance because there will come a day, it's coming soon. I think the next playground that we want to replace is at Fox Glen Park, and that's going to be well over 150,000. It's a huge playground for multiple age groups. So we'll need to build that balance up to at least 300,000, if not more. So there might be a delay there unless we can find a grant or something to supplement it. And then this is 200,000. That's just for this deferred maintenance or like small projects that weren't a part of another capital project. I mean, gosh, I'm looking at the list. There was a boiler repair, go figure, at the ice rink. We did some work with the windows at the Aquaplex with resealing those. I mean, it's not like fun, neato stuff, but it's stuff that has to happen.
Is that the siding for the Aquaplex as well?
Oh, that was a $1.9 million project. Window sealants around, I mean, look at all the windows and we're just in one room and think all up above too. So that sealant on the exterior on that. We did buy a piece of a snow equipment called a Snow Rhino for the works team. It's pretty cool. We had gutters to do here at the Aquaplex. We had some urinals to do at Al Jensen. Like, it's not fancy stuff, but it's interesting. I think we've created a good, like democratic way to decide how it's spent. Cause many times there's cool ideas of, hey, can I have 50,000 to do this? And it'd be really neat to go do, but we know these little things are gonna hit us throughout the year with our facility maintenance team or with others. There was some more stuff with, there was some, decals on some hoops that we purchased. There was a new kind of wayfinding sign done at Heritage Square in collaboration with the Downtown Business Alliance. So there's a new one facing Aspen, and we flipped this other one that had more like text and who you call for an emergency on the backside. So it's kind of like cool, unique things like that too. So they're not major improvements that you as commission members would notice necessarily, because I think that's where our lessons learned are. It's not probably ideal when you have only 200,000 to like expend 25% of it on something, knowing that these little repairs happen throughout the year. Go ahead, Commissioner Lamberson.
This probably is a side note, but wondering because it wouldn't be maintenance yet because they haven't been installed. I know there's been conversation when you talked about wayfinding signage downtown at Heritage Square. I know there's been conversation surrounding bollards and potential, Commissioner Diab, you asked why shutting down a street in such capacity was a big deal, and we've been trying to explore downtown some increased safety measures for all the markets that happen on Aspen Avenue. Would part of this budget be eligible to go towards something like that, or is that being discussed and achieved elsewhere? Just throwing a curveball in there.
No, I love curveballs. So that is an engineering capital project. The Ballard project is for downtown. And then ongoing operation and maintenance, those bollards are in the right of way, so would not be pros. That would be public works when there's items in the right of way. For that
Great, thanks.
maintenance,
So
yeah.
this is not something for that. I'll work with DBA and get some updates from Hunter on whether that's still moving forward.
I can tell you that's still moving forward. That is funded, Commissioner Lamberson, this fiscal year in the engineering division to deliver that capital improvement.
Amazing. That's great news. Thanks. I oftentimes worry about the safety of those events downtown with just a traffic sign in front of them. So that'll be nice to know that that's forthcoming.
Absolutely. I mean, we've got so many stories even during the pandemic. When we set up some of our first parklets in the downtown area on Aspen. And I don't know how many times we've all seen drivers go the wrong way down a one-way street. There was an individual going the wrong way down Aspen right toward one of those parklets that a restaurant had set up temporarily. And it had the big wine barrels out there to help harden it. Thank goodness they weren't going fast, but that's just how scary things like that can be. When you're inviting people to come into the roadway, you need to have that roadway closed and secured.
Couldn't agree more. Thank you.
Is that deferred maintenance? Is that when you do the cleaning, like you do all the carpet cleaning or, the deep clean in this, drain the pool or redo the ice over at J Lively? Is that what fund you use or is that separate still?
We have used that fund in order to be able to do that because with the recreation centers, we have aging buildings and we have a lot of needs and we don't necessarily have a preventative maintenance budget for each one. And so depending on the project, we've used deferred maintenance funds that Amy has been talking about. And then the facility themselves will look at their budget. And the first line is to try to see if you can absorb it in your budget and try to take care of it within your budget. If you can't, then we'll go and we'll ask for the deferred maintenance funds.
Is that why like the Aquaplex one this year was a little bit longer? Was because there was like bigger projects or other things that were needed, and so you were pulling from that 200,000 to be like, all right, we're doing it this year?
Well, that just depends on what they have on their maintenance schedule when they do their closure. It certainly extends the time the ice rink is closed when we take up the ice. We've done it once now and it will be happening in May of 27. We'll need to take up the ice and that adds at least 2 weeks to the closure.
Yeah, so it's just really project dependent. Like for the taking out the ice, the first time we did it was deferred maintenance. This time we built it into a budget for the ice rink themselves to be able to pay for it. And so, yeah, we try to be responsible and not just everything to happen, try and take from deferred maintenance. We really try to have the supervisors look at their budget and be able to take from that. And then the closure is just project dependent.
I think the difficult thing is the city holistically has 100 buildings or facilities to maintain, and there's not large fund accounts to properly maintain them. So that's where this comes into play for us with our essentially 6 buildings. When you include the caretaker's house at the cemetery, the park shop, and our 4 rec centers, where we've got this small amount to make some of those needed deferred maintenance type repairs. Rarely have we seen it used for like a small or medium project. And every now and then, like with, say, that snow rhino, it purchased an $11,000 piece of equipment that we didn't have elsewhere to pull from to buy that. It just kind of depends. And I think we really attempt to spread it around too and make sure. I think again, the only section that probably doesn't benefit from it is events, that section. Because there's not really a deferred maintenance component to events and athletics, but there could be in the future with something with athletics. I could see that happening.
Something like that.
Yeah, we've done scoreboards in the past. Yeah. Yeah, it kind of just depends on what pops up.
You don't have anything current right now that you're,
For this fiscal year that just started?
Yep.
Let me go. I don't think we have hit it with anything yet, but let me check before I say that out. I had just started copying stuff over from last year, so no, I don't think that we have, touched it just yet, but I could see some things happening. We know of some, some of these mechanical systems with something like the ice rink or the swimming pool, they just, whether if it's a leak or a pump that needs to be rebuilt, or you name it, something is constantly happening, especially with the amount of hours they're run throughout the day.
boiler and all that, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with the 150 for the structures, that can be folded over into future years. But is this 200,000 like you have 200,000, spend it, and if you spend 190 next year, it's 190? Or
We've asked that exact same question because there have been years we've been allowed to, if we didn't spend it all, carry that into the next year. So say you spent, like you said, 130,000 of it, gosh, I could use that 70 in the next year. There's been years we've been told by our budget section, nope, it cannot be carried forward. We're back to right now, you can carry it forward, which makes sense because again, the funds are deriving from BBB rec. And so those should be our capital funds essentially to allocate to however we're going to spend it. So they should be carry forward eligible. So I think we have everybody back on the same page with that. And
Yeah, I think that's a better idea because it forces you to be fiscally responsible, get the best bid so that you have more money in the future to be able to.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're not trying to just spend it to spend it
Yeah.
at all. Yeah. Yeah, we're really, I think, conservative with how it all plays out. Yeah, I thought, especially since this commission, again, it does vote and approve that BBB rec budget. I think it's good to know about that 200,000, but that us as staff with section managers, directors, the whole bit, that's part of our responsibility is to make sure that we're managing those budgets to their fullest extent. Yeah.
Cool. Anyone else have any questions or comments for Amy?
It's nothing cool, like I said.
Hearing about.
cool because city government.
Some other things that are on it are like the exterior paint at Hal Jensen at the rec center we were at last month. So that is, half of it was funded from last fiscal year and the other half is this fiscal year coming out of that deferred maintenance or project fund. So like excellent, like that's awesome. Well spent, like a 12,000 each year, and that's great to spread that out. And now we get a facility repainted, which will be amazing. Gosh, nothing else in here is really neat. Quiplex drain covers.
Not
That's
neat,
what-
but necessary.
Right.
You know, you get roughed out and cut people and all that stuff.
I suppose that's why deferred maintenance is boring.
But that's, but the restroom, the Heritage Square restroom's a completely different thing. That was budgeted, a separate line item.
Yes, yeah, that's a capital project identified, yeah. Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions or comments for Amy regarding deferred maintenance?
It's oh so fun, exciting stuff.
Okay. Well, very good. We're on to our last item, which is, I guess, getting rid of me.
Right, do we just toss them out? What do we do?
Hit the road, Jack.
Finish the meeting? I put this in there because a sincere thank you to Stephen Parsons for his possibly a little bit over 6 year term. Always showing up, always being here. I think, like you said, you've been sick one time in 15 years. Always participating, and sometimes when the conversation is dead, you're still attempting to engage everyone in conversation.
Right, and to our new chair, that's kind of what I was trying to express earlier, is that's what I feel my role is to make sure that we have discussion items, even if some of those items aren't that, exhilarating and all that, but we want to make sure that we're at least giving it due consideration, no matter what it is. So I appreciate that though, Amy, so.
Absolutely, yeah.
But it's been an honor. I'm not sure so much I did, but I tried. So it was an honor. It's been an honor to be chair and to work with all this commissioner. I think that our current commissioner's been excellent, and I look forward to having you guys continue and hopefully guiding Amy and Rebecca and Tyrone and Haley and all the pros team. So it's been great working with you guys and being part of the commission. So I want to thank you for guiding me along as well. So.
Watch out, he's gonna show up now as a member of the public.
I'm gonna call in. Or water slides.
Commissioner Parsons, I hope you don't find it a reflection of our gratitude that nobody's there in person today except for just a couple. And thanks so much for leading us.
Not at all. I assume with the storms and everything, no one really wanted to be here. I gotta go check in on my dog. He gets afraid of the lightning, so.
I know, they were pretty crazy earlier today. Yeah, but no, sincere thank you. And it's not an agenda item, but knowing that Vice Chair Kerr will not renew, also a thank you to him too for his time here with the commission. It's been amazing.
Thanks, y'all. I learned a ton. I loved being a part of it. Thanks for letting me be involved.
It's interesting you see how government kind of works, even though we're not in that same role, but, just especially as far as parks go and how the funding, approval of these, not only the funding, but then your priority items, where you have to go, what you're going to spend your money on and really prioritize those things. And I think the commission really comes into play with that. And so it's been an exciting and informative kind of thing to participate in. So
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, very good. I will make my way out happily, I guess. And so we can move on to reports and updates from Councilmember Garcia, if you have any, council member.
Yeah. I just wanted to mention to the community and to the commission that the bicycle recycling program is gaining a lot of traction and is available at the landfill. So if you have any extra bikes, you're throwing your garbage out, put that bike on top of the garbage, take it out there. They'll take it off your hands for you and try to repurpose it through our nonprofit partners. I think probably the biggest discussion at City Council for those that weren't tuned in was the demolition of the old City Hall and the new hotel that will be going in there. City Council did vote to allow for that demolition to take place sooner rather than later. And for those that are, like me, care about historical preservation stuff, I want you to come along with me on the ride of accepting this new project in the way that that the part that's being activated now, that's going to be activated by the Graduate Hotel moving in, is a part of the town that has not been activated for quite some time. That old building would the old City Hall, in order to refurbish it and everything, would have almost had to take the whole thing down and then rebuild it just to keep it where it was at, and that was economically infeasible for anybody involved with the project, it seemed, judging by how the meetings went. So let's take it's an opportunity now to look towards the future, to look towards that economic development that's going to happen there, and to look forward to what looks like a really good project that was helped steer by the HPC Commission. So good things are on the horizon, even though we had to, say goodbye to some things we loved as well. Typical of life, right? Change. Besides that, thank you for this good meeting. Another thing to note that council members are on break, but it doesn't mean that we're not working. I think we work harder during break than we do during session. We just like to give the staff a break from us. So anybody out there that needs a meeting, one-on-one group meeting, or a speaking opportunity from me in particular, just holler at me. I'm still hard at work out here.
Good, thank you. My office was in that building for a while there, council member.
Yeah.
Can we ask questions? Can I ask him a question?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Hey, Councilmember Garcia, it's Commissioner Kerr. Quick question for you. Just a clarification, maybe. You were saying the HPC was the one who was kind of spearheading this move. My understanding was that they were against the move. Could you clarify?
Absolutely. So as far as the demolition process was concerned, they voted 5-0 that they did not want that to take place with their findings. But what I said, that as far as the design concept, so I went from talking about what we were having to do as far as demolishing that to accepting the new project. And when I mentioned accepting the new project, thank you for the clarification, by the way. I wanted to make sure that the community knew that the design of this has a lot to do with the work of the HPC. There was two sections. There was one demolished, and then there was the other section, and that was, if it doesn't get demolished, how is it going to look? And they did armloads of work to make it, have at least some of the same textures and the same feels and the same looks of the building that will be torn down. So awesome catch on that. There was two different sides to this, and I'm definitely trying to paint the picture in a positive way, because it wasn't the easiest decision for the entire community to make, but we're here now, and I think it will be better to be happy about what's coming than to be sad about it. And also, I wanted to make sure before you guys leave us to thank Vice Chair and Chair for the work they've done. Chairman, you have a similar style as me when I'm chair, in that, we, whether they like it or not, we try to get voices to speak up, or at least allow them the space and make sure people understand what's going on in the process. And also, Vice Chair, you did a really great job throughout your entire, both of you did, but, Austin, you did a really great job throughout your entire your time there on the board. I followed both of you throughout the time that you were there, and I couldn't have asked for better commissioners. And you're a real example of what community stewardship looks like, what community values look like when you put them into action, and what community participation looks like. And you watching you guys mature and grow through the process, from folks that didn't know a whole heck of a lot to people who now can teach others, is what this is all about. Thank you guys very much for your service.
Thank you very much, council member. Those are very kind words and much appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for the clarification too.
Very good. I guess Pro's monthly newsletter, I want to comment on the new playground up on McMillan Mesa. That looks amazing. So,
Maybe. Yeah, it's a really neat new playground. So some of you may remember the process that Gino Leone, our parks manager, in conjunction with, it might share it, maybe not, it's loading, in conjunction with Haley Reynolds in events and marketing. They put together, Gino got five from five different manufacturers. And then he received five or two designs from each of the five. So he had 10 total designs that we did one of our social pinpoint Connect Flagstaff websites, and then postcarded the direct neighborhood and had them go online and vote on which one they liked. So this was the playground that voted the highest with the amount of responses received, that the direct neighborhood picked. So again, it's another cool way that we're attempting to engage with the neighborhoods on what do you really want to see here, instead of us staff just picking stuff out. We want to hear from you and what you want to see in your neighborhood park. It's a really cool, unique playground structure.
it looks neat.
Yeah, it's neat.
The swings too, and
Yep.
I like the posts on the swings. It looks really.
Yeah, so we were able to add some more swings that was there before. We continue to hear that loud and clear in any of these playground replacement projects are, no matter your age, everyone still loves a good swing set.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're like, easy, we can, once we know the guidelines and the needed spatial considerations for it. So if we can reconfigure it and it adds a swing set bay, we're gonna do it, kind of thing.
Space, you'd have that space for that big of a play structure. I didn't think there was that much space up there.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty neat. So yeah, that was really super duper cool. Here's another photo. As soon as we took down the temporary construction fencing around it, the kids swarmed it. They were like cheering and waiting for the fencing to come down. It was hilarious. And they're like, yeah, and they all went running out there. It was awesome.
Councilmember Garcia.
Sure.
No, you guys continue with that conversation. When you're done with it, come back to me.
Okay, you got it. So yeah, super cool project to get done. I think good to know, especially because the cemetery is a large part of the park's operation. So Ian Anderson was promoted to our park supervisor, which is the working title would be cemetery supervisor at the Citizen Cemetery. Ian actually started the same day I did in parks in 2018, as a parks maintenance worker, or a temporary, a seasonal, then parks maintenance worker, then parks technician, and now this promotion to our cemetery supervisor. So it was really neat. We did an extensive interview process, and super glad to have Ian on board. And he's worked at the cemetery before, with us in one of his roles, where they also just added the second new columbarium to the cemetery. That's where there's niches that individuals can purchase for their cremains. Those sell out quickly. Yeah, that one abuts back to back to the other one we purchased, I believe, 2 years ago. And then our usual foots trail counts going on here, recreation section. They've been killing it with swim lessons and summer camp here at the Aquaplex. That might be a good agenda item for in August, like some of the data and results of the summer camps that were held here, plus a summer sports camp with collaborative efforts that Hal Jensen staff and Jay Lively staff putting on. They did an amazing job with that. There's always these annual really cool summer field trips that the team does at Hal Jensen. So some photos of that where they get to go to Prescott and watch the Northern Arizona Wranglers play. Really kind of really neat experience for those kids that get to go do that. Open space, as usual, has really cool things. They did some stuff with edible plants, always working on invasive weed mitigation and education. They had their bug out event in the month of June, which always creates a pretty good crowd for that to learn more about that. Concerts in the Park series starts in June. That's always in June and July. We've had some ups and downs with that one this year because of a small fire out on the east side, east of city limits, that created some air quality issues. And then the pocket fire created some air quality issues for us. That's where it's really hard for us to say, do we really invite the public to come out and hang out outside if the air quality is that bad? Kind of thing.
What do you do with those concerts that didn't happen? Are those gonna be picked up at another date or just not done?
No, because we really don't have the ability to reschedule, so unfortunately just not done. I know. I want to say, and Sarah can correct me where I'm wrong, but I believe we were unable to do, we had to relocate the June 10th concert to the park in Kachina from Peaks View because of a small fire that was occurring out there. And then, gosh, was there another one? We had
Cheshire.
canceled Cheshire on July 1st, I believe.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add, unfortunately, like sometimes we can schedule like a double header where the artist will play before the other scheduled artist. But this year, like with the one that we canceled, we kind of decided not to do that because of the rain forecast, and it was just gonna be too much moving parts just to, potentially cancel. But luckily, our artists are really excited to come back next year, and so we hope to bring them back if we can. We make notes of that, so that they get an opportunity in the next year if they reapply.
Yeah, yeah. And they're difficult decisions to make, but it's always made with the best intentions on that. So Sarah, I know we had to relocate the one from Peaks View in June, and then was the one on June 24th, was that a cancel with the pocket fire? I don't recall at,
So that's the one that we were able to move to McMillan Mesa Park, which was perfect
Oh, gotcha.
because
Okay.
we didn't have a concert scheduled at that park because we weren't sure when the playground was going to be finished, but it was great to have a concert there and sort of showcase the new playground.
right, yeah. Yeah, and then, yeah, I know we definitely had to cancel the July 1st one with outdoor air quality. And then, yeah, we've got one, gosh, in 2 days at Bushmaster.
Being bitter.
And then one last one there at the end of the month. Those are always a great success. Again, free to the community and neighborhood to attend. And I think the ability to move them around really increases some of that participation and just spreads that around, which is pretty neat to see and do. Councilmember Garcia, we need to circle back to you.
No, it's okay. Thank you. I was about to overcarry my weight.
That's all right. Yeah, thanks for reviewing that, Amy. It's always fun to look at those
Yeah.
notes again. So we can go and see if anyone has any informational items to and or from commissioners and staff.
I'm just gonna remind the commission that this month in July, we're doing 2 outreach meetings with the Sunnyside neighborhood on the reconstruction of Ponderosa Park. Our first one was this past Saturday. The weather did not want to work with us very well. It had showed predictions were that where rain was going to hit at 11 a.m. It surprised all of us an hour early at 10 a.m. And that event was from 9 a.m. to noon. But we did have probably about 25 or 30 neighborhood community members out there. And I'm hoping the one on Thursday, July 30th, that the weather stays away and we have a much larger opportunity then. There is a website also where you can, if you live in the neighborhood, and that's one of the questions, like a yes, no. We were talking about it with some of the neighborhood community members on Saturday, like, gosh, you don't need someone from, say, University Heights coming to Sunnyside and tell you what goes in your park. We want to know from you. So we created, gosh, I can't remember, 2,500 door hangers, Sarah, and a handful of us, recreation staff, myself, I even, a person with the Sunnyside Neighborhood Association. We're doing door hangers all last week. We walked a lot of miles last week and talked to a lot of community members, in Sunnyside, hoping to get them out.
You kind of doing that build your park kind of effort again? Or
Kind of.
extensive?
There's kind of three distinct areas to that park that, and I always use the term that we get to decorate. So kind of, it's not the place for a lighted ball field. It's not the place for more sport courts. It's got 2 basketball and 2 pickleball courts. So there's some things that it's not, but then there's a huge list of things that it could be. And that's what we really need to know from the neighborhood, what they want in there. And it has a finite budget. It does have a budget. It's $1 million, but that's 500,000 coming from BBB recreation and 500,000 coming from community development block grant that we were awarded. But that needs to include also the design of it. So, it's also educating those that are choosing to participate on what do some of these things actually cost. We're lucky that it's already got these sport courts. It's got a huge grass area that was a part of the stormwater improvements. And now it's time for some of these other things. But they've got a dollar figure to them. And so, kind of pick them wisely,
What was washed out? I know the playground, right? But
Playground's gone, Ramada's gone. And then there's an added almost 1 acre to the park with a property on the north that was purchased by the city of Flagstaff through DFFM and some other federal guidelines to complete those stormwater improvements of that entire channel that comes down from the Spruce Avenue wash.
might be a topic of agenda to bring the
It
Shut up.
those results from the meeting, the last one is, then we may have some of that data and those results to share with the commission in August. I know, I don't think I saw any commission members out there Saturday, but there were a couple council members out there Saturday before the rain and lightning hit. And then the channel worked.
That rain, I was like, ooh, this is the first like real test I feel like of that flood mitigation.
It was.
Apparently, I didn't hear about it.
Yep, yeah.
Anyone else have any items to present, informational items?
Yeah, just real fast, I was in Boise last week and that river walk that they have in Boise is awesome.
Yeah.
But something I noticed was instead of dog poop bag stations, it was like a big pole that was like, put your bag in here. Like if you have excess grocery bags.
Oh, got you.
in there.
Yeah.
So it's like a reusing grocery bags instead of
New plastic bags.
bags. And I was like, oh, that's really, so I took a picture of it, but I was like, maybe that's a thing. I don't know if cities explored that or thought about that, but I like some of the major parks.
Some of those I've seen along the Karen refrigerator.
Yeah, some folks made their own with even like
Yeah,
gallon jugs and put them in there.
Yeah.
Or tubes. Yeah.
I saw that and I was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring that up in the commission.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, cool.
good idea. All right, anybody else? Otherwise, we can move on. We kind of discussed a couple possible agenda items. I don't know if there's anything else that we would want to consider, Amy.
I think we can have some data and results of July being Parks and Rec month and the events that's primarily the recreation team is hosting. They've got a big one coming up on this Saturday, the 25th? 25th. that they're doing, and all the coordinators working together at all the rec centers. It's pretty cool to see. So I think we can give some results on that. And like we had Touch a Truck a week ago. We'll have these Ponderosa outreach meetings and some of those results.
Some of these projects, I'm thinking of like maybe Highland Mesa Park a little bit, but there's also the restroom at Heritage Square. I know you were working on the design. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm
Where we
reviewing
stand.
those construction drawings right now. They've got some edits we need to make.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask about, is if there's any update on the Heritage Square restrooms.
Sure. August might be too soon, Commissioner Diab, or should I say Vice Chair? But those construction drawings, they're 90% complete as far as the architect is concerned, but myself and the project manager in capital engineering, we have some significant comments on them. I think they missed the mark on a few more product things that we were very informative to them on, so they just need to make some changes. So I don't want to share what's drawn, knowing that there's some large edits they're gonna need to be doing to that. And then we were successful on the July 7th city council meeting of the renaming of Cheshire Park. It's the Ken Ingalls Cheshire Park. We've changed information on our website and in the Kaizen software, and the parks team will start working on new kiosk signage that states that too. So that was done, which is pretty neat. That also helps me using that information in the application for the Land Water Conservation Fund grant for the Cheshire Park running track and multi-purpose field. It's pretty neat now to add the information in the application about the renaming of the park, who it's after and why, just to continue that information for the federal grant reviewers on that one. So it was nice to get that done.
Anyone else has anything more, as far as an agenda item for next meeting? Please send that to Amy. Wise. We can move to adjournment, before. So I just want to say thank you, everybody, for allowing me to be the chair and for Austin to be the co-chair. It's been an honor to serve, and it's been wonderful working with you and having these meetings every month. So thank you for bearing with me. And with that, I'll sign off and the meeting is officially adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Good. Get out of here. You can't be here.
Commission anymore, Steve.
I know.
Yeah,
Well, we are until August.
I can heard.
right?
Right?
Don't start peppering us with a bunch of emails. What about this? What about this?
Yeah.